The power dynamics of no contact. Who breaks first? No contact isn't just about silence. It's a psychological and emotional game of resilience. When two people simultaneously decide to cut communication, an unspoken power struggle begins. Who will give in first? Who will break the silence? The answer often reveals more about emotional stability and inner strength than it does about the relationship itself. This dynamic can feel intense because it challenges your patience, ego, and sense of control. Think about it. Silence, in its purest form, can be deafening. When you know the other person is also holding back, it creates a unique tension, a tug of war without words. But here's the catch. Breaking no contact impulsively often leads to regret. Why? Because the one who breaks first usually feels as though they've surrendered their emotional power. It's not just about texting first. It's about what that action symbolizes. It signals vulnerability, an unresolved need for closure, or a fear of losing the connection. Stoicism teaches us something vital here. Control what you can and let go of what you cannot. If you're focused on whether she'll break the silence or not, you're placing your peace in someone else's hands. Instead, use this period of silence to reflect. What does her silence actually mean to you? Is it a challenge, or is it an opportunity for growth? The truth is, real strength comes not from winning the silence, but from staying true to your own emotional boundaries. Breaking no contact prematurely often interrupts your healing process, pulling you back into patterns you're trying to move beyond. Ultimately, the question isn't who will break first, but why does it matter? The deeper you dig into this question, the more clarity you'll find. When you embrace the silence and see it as a tool for growth, you transcend the power dynamics altogether. You're no longer playing the game, you're rising above it. Understanding her silence. Is it a message or a strategy? Silence speaks volumes, even when no words are exchanged. When someone you care about suddenly goes quiet, it's natural to wonder, is this silence a deliberate strategy, or is it simply their way of coping? Understanding the motivations behind her silence can give you clarity, not only about the situation, but also about your own emotional response to it. Silence can mean many things. It might be a protective mechanism, a way to process emotions, or even an intentional move to regain power in the relationship dynamic. People often use silence as a strategy when they feel they've lost control or need to regain their footing. By withdrawing, they may be testing your response or waiting for you to take the first step. On the other hand, her silence might not be a strategy at all. It could be a reflection of her own emotional overwhelm or a need for space to heal. The key here is not to jump to conclusions, but to observe and interpret thoughtfully. From a Stoic perspective, it's essential to focus on your reaction rather than over-analyzing her intentions. The reality is, you may never know exactly why she's silent, and that's okay. What matters more is how you handle the uncertainty. Silence can feel like rejection or punishment, but it's often just a neutral space where emotions are being sorted out. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt or frustration, ask yourself, what can I control in this moment? How can I use this silence to grow emotionally stronger and more self-aware? Another critical point to consider is the meaning you assign to her silence. If you interpret it as a message of disinterest, you may feel rejected. But what if her silence isn't about you at all? What if it's about her own journey, her own healing process? In many cases, silence isn't a weapon but a shield. Recognizing this can help you let go of unnecessary emotional weight and focus on what truly matters, your own peace and well-being. Ultimately, her silence might be both a message and a strategy, or it might be neither. What's important is that you don't lose yourself trying to decode it. Let her silence be her choice, and use it as an opportunity to strengthen your ability to remain calm, centered, and in control of your own emotional world. The Stoic approach to emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood as apathy or indifference, but in reality, it's a profound form of emotional mastery. The Stoic approach to emotional detachment doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or avoiding connections. It means cultivating the ability to remain calm, rational, and in control, regardless of external circumstances. This concept is especially important when dealing with silence or no-contact situations, where emotions can easily spiral out of control. At its core, emotional detachment is about recognizing what you can control and what you cannot. Stoicism teaches that our thoughts, actions, and attitudes are within our power, but the actions, feelings, and decisions of others are not. When you grasp this distinction, you free yourself from the need to seek validation or closure from someone else. Their silence or actions no longer hold the power to dictate your emotional state. Instead, you become the author of your own peace. In a no-contact situation, emotional detachment doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means acknowledging them without allowing them to consume you. For example, if you feel rejected or frustrated by her silence, a Stoic approach encourages you to pause and ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this reaction serving me, or is it keeping me stuck in a cycle of emotional dependence? By questioning your emotions and reframing your perspective, you can create a sense of inner stability. Another key principle of Stoicism is to focus on the present moment. Often, emotional turmoil arises from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, wondering if she'll contact you, regretting what you said, or fearing you'll never reconnect. Stoics remind us that the present is the only time we truly control. Use this moment to focus on your growth, your goals, and your well-being. The more you invest in yourself, the less dependent you'll feel on external outcomes. Ultimately, emotional detachment isn't about shutting off your emotions. It's about giving yourself the freedom to feel without being enslaved by those feelings. It's about learning to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. When you master this Stoic practice, you not only gain emotional resilience, but also create space for healthier, more meaningful connections in the future. Why no contact is about you, not her. The no-contact rule is often misunderstood as a strategy to manipulate or influence the other person, but in reality, it's a powerful tool for self-healing and personal growth. At its core, no contact isn't about making her miss you, regret her decisions, or chase after you. It's about reclaiming your own emotional space and redefining your sense of self-worth. The focus is not on her actions or reactions, but on your journey toward clarity and inner peace. When you make the decision to go no contact, you're prioritizing yourself for perhaps the first time in a long while. In many cases, relationships, especially those marked by conflict or imbalance, can erode your sense of identity. You become so entangled in the dynamic that you lose sight of your own needs, values, and goals. No contact serves as a reset button, giving you the distance needed to reconnect with who you are, free from the emotional noise of the relationship. It's crucial to understand that no contact is not a game or a tactic. If your motivation is to provoke a reaction from her, you're still emotionally tethered to her approval and response. True no contact is an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that you value your peace and well-being over the uncertainty of waiting for someone else to validate your worth. This shift in perspective is liberating because it puts you back in control of your life. From a Stoic perspective, no contact aligns perfectly with the idea of focusing on what you can control. You cannot control her thoughts, feelings, or decisions, but you can control how you respond to the situation. This period of silence allows you to cultivate resilience, emotional independence, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Instead of asking, "Is she thinking about me?" ask yourself, "What am I doing to better my life right now?" Another benefit of no contact is that it creates space for growth. When you're constantly consumed by the relationship dynamic, it's difficult to reflect or evolve. But in silence, clarity emerges. You begin to see the relationship and yourself more objectively. What worked? What didn't? What do you truly want moving forward? This time is not about her. It's about answering these questions honestly and using the insights to build a stronger, more authentic version of yourself. In the end, no contact is a gift you give to yourself. It's a way to reclaim your power, reset your emotional boundaries, and rediscover your worth. When you stop making it about her and start making it about you, you unlock the true potential of this transformative process. The journey isn't easy, but it's worth it, because you're worth it. How to stay grounded when silence feels heavy. Silence can be one of the most uncomfortable experiences, especially when it comes from someone you care about. It's natural for your mind to fill the void with assumptions, fears, and what-if scenarios. But when silence feels heavy, like an emotional weight pressing down on you, learning to stay grounded becomes essential. It's not about ignoring the silence, but about responding to it in a way that preserves your peace and emotional balance. The first step to staying grounded is to separate facts from emotions. Silence can often feel like rejection, but that's not always the case. Just because someone isn't communicating doesn't mean they've forgotten you or stopped caring. Silence can mean many things. It might signal their need for space, their own internal struggles, or simply their choice to process emotions privately. Instead of jumping to conclusions, focus on what you know rather than what you imagine. This practice helps you stay rooted in reality, rather than being swept away by fear or insecurity. Another powerful way to stay grounded is by returning to the present moment. Silence often amplifies our tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. You might find yourself replaying conversations, regretting things you said, or fearing what might happen next. Stoicism teaches us that the only moment we truly control is the present. So ask yourself, what can I do right now to center myself? Engage in activities that bring you joy or a sense of accomplishment, whether it's exercising, journaling, meditating, or simply taking a walk. Grounding yourself in the now shifts your focus from what's missing to what's here. A critical element of staying grounded is managing your inner dialogue. When silence feels oppressive, it's easy for self-doubt to creep in. You might start questioning your worth or assuming you've done something wrong. Combat this by consciously replacing negative thoughts with affirmations of self-worth and resilience. Remind yourself that silence doesn't define your value. Your actions and character do. Your worth is not tied to someone else's willingness to communicate. Lastly, recognize that silence is also an opportunity. In the absence of external noise, you have the chance to turn inward and reflect. What can you learn about yourself in this quiet? What does this moment teach you about patience, self-control, and emotional independence? Embrace the silence as a tool for personal growth rather than a punishment. It's in these moments of stillness that we often discover our inner strength and resilience. Staying grounded when silence feels heavy is a skill that takes practice, but it's one that empowers you to navigate uncertainty with grace and strength. Remember, the silence may feel heavy, but it doesn't have to weigh you down. Instead, let it be a moment to pause, reflect, and reconnect with your inner peace. Signs: she's also practicing no contact. Silence can often feel one-sided, but what if she's also actively practicing no contact? Recognizing the signs that someone else has consciously chosen this path can bring a mix of clarity and complexity to your emotions. Understanding these signs isn't about guessing their intentions, but rather about interpreting their behavior in a way that helps you stay grounded and emotionally balanced. One of the clearest indicators that she's also practicing no contact is her complete withdrawal from communication. This isn't just about not responding to your messages. It's about a noticeable absence in shared spaces, whether that's social media, mutual friend circles, or other environments where you typically cross paths. If she's avoiding posting updates or engaging online, it may be a deliberate effort to avoid triggering reactions in herself or you. This silence often reflects her own journey of healing, detachment, or emotional self-preservation. Another key sign is a lack of reaction. In situations where you've subtly or openly tried to re-establish contact, perhaps through a social media post or indirect messages, she remains unmoved. No likes, no comments, no acknowledgement. This can be painful, but it's a strong indicator that she's maintaining her boundaries. It's not about playing games. It's about her prioritizing her own emotional space, much like you are. A more subtle sign is when mutual friends or acquaintances mention that she's focusing on herself. Maybe she's taken up new hobbies, joined a gym, or started spending more time with her family. These are positive indications that she's using the no-contact period as an opportunity for growth, rather than as a tool to manipulate or hurt. This approach mirrors the principles of Stoicism, focusing on what can be controlled and letting go of what cannot. It's also possible that she's demonstrating indifference through her actions. For example, if you attend the same event or see each other in passing, and she behaves politely but distantly, it suggests she's committed to maintaining emotional boundaries. This doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't care, but rather that she's actively choosing not to engage in ways that could reopen wounds or create further complications. Recognizing these signs is important, but so is accepting that her actions are not about you, they're about her. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control the choices of others, only our reactions to them. If she's practicing no contact, it's likely for her own reasons, just as you have your own. Instead of seeing her silence as rejection, view it as an opportunity to respect her boundaries while continuing your own journey of growth and healing. Ultimately, whether she's practicing no contact or not, the focus should remain on you. Her choices are hers to make, just as yours are yours. By respecting her decision, you not only show emotional maturity, but also reinforce your own commitment to self-discovery and personal empowerment. Silence is not a weapon. It's a space for growth, for both of you. The role of patience in navigating no contact. Patience is often an undervalued skill, but when navigating no contact, it becomes your most powerful ally. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by silence, wondering if the other person is thinking about you, if they'll reach out, or if you're making the right decision. These thoughts can create an emotional storm, but patience serves as the anchor that keeps you steady in the midst of uncertainty. At its core, patience is about accepting the things you cannot control. No contact is not about forcing a result. It's about creating space for growth, healing, and clarity. When you allow impatience to take over, you're essentially letting your emotions dictate your actions, whether it's checking your phone constantly, overthinking her silence, or feeling the urge to break no contact prematurely. But impatience only adds to your stress, pulling you further away from the peace and balance that no contact is designed to foster. Stoicism offers profound guidance here. The philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, while letting go of what we cannot. Patience is not passive. It's an active choice to trust the process and stay committed to your goals, even when the results aren't immediate. In no contact, this means resisting the urge to reach out or seek instant validation. It's about reminding yourself that healing and emotional growth take time and cannot be rushed. Patience also allows you to shift your perspective. Instead of viewing silence as an unbearable void, you can begin to see it as an opportunity. This is a chance to reconnect with yourself, to reflect on your values, and to work on areas of your life that may have been neglected during the relationship. Patience gives you the space to grow into the person you want to be, free from external distractions or pressures. Additionally, patience builds emotional resilience. The longer you resist the urge to act impulsively, the stronger you become. You begin to realize that you don't need someone else's immediate response or validation to feel whole. This realization is empowering. It shifts the focus back to you and your ability to control your own narrative. Over time, patience transforms what initially feels like a struggle into a source of strength and self-assurance. In the end, patience is not just about waiting, it's about what you do while you wait. It's about staying grounded, focused, and aligned with your values. The no-contact period is not a punishment, it's a gift, a time to heal, grow, and rediscover your independence. When you approach no contact with patience, you unlock its true potential, allowing both yourself and the situation to evolve naturally and authentically. No contact is not an easy journey, but it's one that holds immense potential for growth, healing, and self-discovery. It's a period where silence transforms into strength, where patience becomes your guide, and where you learn to reclaim your emotional independence. Remember, this journey isn't about someone else. It's about you. It's about embracing the discomfort, using it as a tool to uncover your inner resilience, and emerging stronger, more confident, and more self-assured. Whether you're navigating the uncertainty of someone else's silence or learning to sit with your own, always return to the core Stoic principle. Focus on what you can control. You have the power to grow, heal, and redefine your life on your own terms. Take this time to invest in yourself, rediscover your passions, and build the future you truly deserve. Thank you for joining me today. Stay strong, stay grounded, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care and trust the process.